Hello there, this is Thomas Allen Berg coming to you from Waikiki, Honolulu, Hawaii in January 2008. And this is an open letter to Oprah Winfrey, one of the great Americans, one of the great spiritual leaders of our time, someone who has tremendous impact on the course of history, and someone who I believe could really help me with my dream. Oprah, thank you so much for the many ideas that I have used in my classroom teaching. I have been a teacher all of my life in the public school system. Here you see my Teacher of the Year award. Isn't that cool? There are the lights of Waikiki out there. Anyway, what I'd like to talk to you about today is I've been trying to reach Harpo about sending you a copy of my book, which I will show you here, Uncle Tom's Classroom, or How One Public School Teacher Awakened His Students to the Cosmic Super Self Within. And of course, I'm sure you know, there is like a huge wall surrounding you, created by your people to keep, I am sure, thousands and thousands of authors from sending you thousands and thousands of books that you do not want to read or deal with. But this is a different book, and it's a different request. And it comes at a time after I know you have dedicated so much of your loving energy to your wonderful school in Africa. This book comes at a time when it could play a really important part in liberating our children from this downward spiral, this what I think anybody would admit could be called the dumbing down of America. And it not only explains how to stop it, but it offers a curriculum that can stop it and reverse it and actually change the entire educational approach into a more holistic, integrated, and really super successful approach. The name of the book, once again, is Uncle Tom's Classroom, How One Public School Teacher Awakened His Students to the Cosmic Super Self Within. The back title here says it well, I think. Throw off your chains, set yourself free, remember the quantum field master you were born to be. Now, I know that you had the people from The Secret on, and I thought that was really great, but you know, there's another secret that we have not talked about, but I have a right to talk about because I have been in the public school system since the late 60s. I started in the United States Peace Corps. I was one of the Kennedy kids, original kids. Went to the Amazon and first started teaching there. Went into the San Francisco Teacher Corps and taught in the Latino areas, wonderful Mission District area schools in San Francisco. Then went into the San Francisco school system, which has to be one of the most liberal and open-minded school systems in the entire country, if not the entire world. And so I spent 70s, 80s, 90s, and up until a year and a half ago in the public school system. Did you ever see the movie The Matrix with Neo? That wonderful movie where he begins to wake up and he begins to realize that things are not what they seem. You know, everybody's wondering what happened to America. How did we become a nation of zombies? Why do we sit back and watch TV when so many injustices like torturing and prison camps and illegal wars are going on, not to mention racial prejudice and poverty growing and all of the other terrible things that have been happening to our culture recently? What happened to us? How come we're sitting at home watching TV and eating our bonbons? Well, I know what happened, and the secret that nobody other than me, I think, has even really begun to talk about is that our public school systems have been turned into brainwashing, programming, Brave New World jails and mental prisons for our beloved children. You know, anybody that's been in school, You remember what it was like before you went to school, how you knew you were what I call right here. You knew you were a cosmic super being, cosmic super self. You knew that you were a special divine essence. You knew that you were a universal being. You knew that you were the life force. You felt the joy and the life force. You knew it and you felt it and you were it. Until, of course, you went to first and second and third grade and you eventually began to have it drummed out of you. First of all, they stole your attention. They stole your focus. And yeah, I know there are some wonderful teachers. I had many wonderful teachers, which is the reason I'm here right now. And I was a wonderful teacher myself. But over the last 30 years, the public school system has really degenerated into kind of a fascist concentration camp, in spite of all the good intending teachers and administrators, especially since No Child Left Behind was perpetrated on us. That is just a testing program which intimidates and terrifies the entire school system, everybody involving, from parents through teachers to kids. And so what I did in my classroom when I realized that I had become an Uncle Tom was when I noticed that I was punishing my kids with things like detention and after school and giving them Fs and things like that. I realized that the school system was using terror and fear to control the ever enlarging classrooms. And that the way it was set up so there would be a pyramid, an automatic pyramid that was formed to fulfill our economic structure. The athletes and the really smart kids made it, like the Oprahs, like me, that we made it because we were really smart. The athletes made it. But then there were the B kids and the C kids and then the D kids and then the F kids. And of course now we have more prisons being built in hospitals and schools. Go figure, because there were so many kids that were taught out of their perfection, out of their excellence. Kids that were taught that they were not good enough, that they were not smart enough, that they were not popular enough, good looking enough, that they were not valuable enough. Our public school system has degenerated into a kind of a socially stratified, economically stratified dictatorship of the very powerful and the very smart and the very strong over everybody else. And what does that do? Well, I read a secret commission for a superintendent that I worked for a few years ago, in which it said that all the economic predictions for the new millennium were predictions that said America needed a lot of undereducated people willing to sit in cubicles for low wages and very few benefits, because they would only do that, they'd only be willing to spend their lives doing that if they came out of the school system feeling bad about themselves, feeling like they didn't deserve anything better. That's the unspoken secret, that in the school system they're using fear to make sure that only a certain amount of kids come out at the very top. Everybody else comes out, so there'll be good little worker zombies, good little worker bees for the economic, military, industrial complex that pretty much controls the entire world. Now, what I did, and if I run out of time, I'm going to continue this on another video. What I did in my classroom in San Francisco was I put up a sign. Well, first of all, I woke up and I had to make a conscious decision whether or not I was going to continue to terrorize my beautiful children into submission and go against life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, go against the highest ideals of the so-called American dream, that we should be allowed to think for ourselves. I mean, isn't that the basic American dream, that we should be able to think for ourselves? So I put up a big sign in front of my classroom in San Francisco, in my 6th grade classroom, and it said, "Free speech allowed." And we had some basic guidelines that you couldn't hurt people's feelings, but you could bring in any Bible to discuss, you could bring in quantum physics to discuss, you could bring in robot technology to discuss, you could bring in all of the latest